Hello and welcome to my soon-to-be green house. We are currently painting the house you see here, a nice dark green color. You will see it later in the videos that we're in the process of painting right now. This is a view of the house from 2021 when we bought it, before we started doing all of the renovations we've been working on for the last almost 3 years. Here you'll see a green arrow pointing to the front porch. That's where we're going to begin our tour today. So just outside our front door, we can see 3 hanging planters that have white vinca minor and variegated ivy in them. Then we go down the front steps to the brick patio and we can see our new fence and arbor we had put in last summer. We can also see the cute little doggo to the right. That is Luke Skywalker. He's a French bulldog. The fence around this brick patio area used to be very tall and covered with ivy, and we decided to make a bit shorter fence so that we can see the view of the water better and we can interact with people going by a little easier. Luke likes to watch people walk by and bark at the dogs. Here we have a self-watering planter I put together. I meant to just leave these in the greenhouse, but this one's actually been doing pretty well outside. I also recently bought a snowball viburnum, courtesy of Linda Vodder, loving hers so much, and I plan to put it in this area of the garden. I'm just sort of taking you around the perimeter of the brick patio area right now. You can see there are some bricks that are coming up, but I plan to put some ground cover, thyme, different things in there to sort of make a rustic looking patio. Here is the back side of the brick patio area, and those are the stairs to our front porch. I'm hoping to put some plants here to cover a bit of the foundation leading to our porch, and we've made it back around in a circle to the front again. We have a very large mature rhododendron here. It's purple and beautiful, and I will have to share photos with you when it's ready. I'm going to show you a little scoop up from the base of that rhododendron all the way to the top. It is almost blooming. It'll be blooming, I would say, in about a week at the end of April. And it is just beautiful. So we've trimmed it away from the house, and I like to trim it up so that it's not just a big thick bush and we can underplant it. Right now we have some cyclamen planted down there, and I plan to plant more things once we have a drip system up and running. So here is our gate leading out of the brick patio area into the corner of our property, where I have a bench, and there's a Japanese maple, and there's a native vine maple, and a pot, and some other things. I just had irrigation put into this area, so it's kind of been surviving with just what could live here naturally and what I could get the neighbors to water for me while we were doing construction. I have a geranium in a pot. I have a corkscrew hazelnut, is that what that is? Filbert in a pot. And I have a bunch of other little plants that I've been saving in this area. There are also a ton of weeds, especially behind the bench here. There was a hydrangea that didn't survive, and a couple of azaleas that got pulled out last year, so I have a fresh landscape to put in. The vine maple back there had to have rocks put around it because we lifted the level of the sod or of the dirt around that area. And we didn't want to bury the roots of the tree, so that's why it looks like that. Here we are slowly backing up to the corner of the property. You can see the big rhododendron on the right there, the Japanese maple on the left, and here is the very corner with some rocks to hold up the dirt. I put in a few irises this year. There's a 9-bark in there. There's some weeds. There's a lot of damage that happened to the garden when they dug the watering system, so there's a lot of blank spots. And we have this beautiful kale blowing in the wind, which I think is hilarious. I'm sure some people think I should just cut it down, but I think it's pretty funny how it just is all out there and blowing around and kind of silly. So here we are, just backed up a little bit. Here's the sidewalk that goes in front of our house. We have a lot of pedestrians on this street. It's a beautiful tree-lined street in Tacoma, Washington, Zone 8B. Here's the corner of the curb strip. I put some lavender here. The soil is nice and sandy. I guess I could say nice and sandy and be positive about it. So the lavender likes it here. Very full sun. I decided to go ahead and plant in my curb strip because I have a lot of shade on my property and this is the best sun that I have. So there was already some irrigation that we sort of amended and plugged into, and it seems to be working well, so I should be able to grow some nice things in this sunny area. You'll just see a lot of things in here like boxwood there that all the neighborhood dogs like to pee on. That's why it has that brown spot on it, but it makes them happy, so there you go. I did move some benches over here. The benches came with the house and I didn't need them in the brick patio area, so I had someone help me bring them out into this area for people to enjoy. I also put in some stepping stones and walkways last year to make it easy to get from the cars to the house. Here is some more lavender along the curb strip. There's a lot of chocolate dara that I planted here from Floret. There are some Shasta daisies. There's a little tutor sort of thing to grow sweet peas on in the middle of this area. I plan to plant them there soon. There's some sedum, and there are some hot lips salvia on the corner. They're deciding if they like it in that spot or not. So that's the very corner of the property looking up to the house, and you can see that now we are starting to paint it green. The left side is the original color and the front is green. So hopefully by the time I do another tour, you will see a fully green house. Here are those benches I was talking about and the new pathways we put in. And then we went ahead and put the pathway all along the street here where we get out of the cars. This is the center of the curb strip bed. I spread a lot of wildflower seed here, so you're seeing some sort of Pacific Northwest mixed wildflowers that I got from Ed Hume Seeds. When I first planted this garden bed, I tried to make a nice hill or berm, and I got in trouble from the city and had to take it all out. So I will post more about that in a future video, but for now it's sort of filled in with these wildflowers, mostly lupin, some wallflowers, some clarkia, those sorts of things. And I'm going to go ahead and let the lupin bloom this spring, and then I will probably pull them out and put some more perennials in there. We're moving toward the center of that curb strip bed. You can see all the utilities from the street. I have to plant sort of around those boxes. I do have some red flowering currant that's a native here in Western Washington, and some other natives, asters and things planted in this area. And then I have lots of catmint in this garden. There's one you see on the right there, and I'm kind of zooming into some asters just starting to break dormancy there in the front. So here is most of the curb strip, and there's just one more section right here between us and the neighbor's chestnut tree. Here's the final bench. I have 3 of these benches in the curb strip area, and this is a very hard bed to grow in because it's right on top of those roots from the chestnut tree. So I did plant a 9-bark and a rose here, and I'm hoping that those do well this year. And it looks like foxgloves seeded a bunch in this area. So I will let those seeds go and see how many of them are weeds and how many of them are foxgloves. And then we can kind of see from the sidewalk, the curb strip, and then we're moving toward the house and the front borders. So here is along the neighbor's fence, I have sort of a pot, and there's a peony in it that came from the ground along the side of the house. So I actually have some buds on there. And there is the green color of the house. The door that you see there is black now, but when I filmed, it was the old green color, so that'll be black and look really nice. And then there's a nice big camellia. And there's a dog destroying my garden. So the camellia is what's making that mess all over the ground, but it's worth it. It's a beautiful double white camellia tree that's, I think, obviously been there for a long time. And it blooms early spring. It's still blooming at the end of April, and there's a hummingbird nest in that camellia, so it's quite a lovely place to spend time. Here is the troublemaker dog who is getting in trouble for ruining my alliums and rubbing his face all over the hydrangea, so that's why he got all extra excited and ran around. I have to make a garden, a dog-friendly garden, because this is his area that he gets to run around in. So that's just part of the challenge that I take on, especially in this front garden area, because I know he's gonna run around and go to the bathroom and do all the things. So that's just one more layer of challenge that I have for my front garden, inside the fence area anyway. That's where he hangs out. So I had someone help me lay some compost down on top of grass out here. That's what the brown is in the front. Our dog, Luke, is allergic to grass, I think. He gets sort of hives when he goes to the dog sitters. And so I'm going to try some microclover and some native ground covers, maybe some blue star creeper here, and see how it does, especially now that I have access to water. And then I have a couple planters here too to lift up some of the flowers I want to feature so people walking by can enjoy the color. And then these garden beds I started planting about 3 years ago with bulbs and things. So there's some botanical tulips in the front there, some catmint, some hebe, things that I was able to put in the ground and they were able to survive. There's some Ito peonies that are on year 3 in there. There's some foxgloves, some tiarella, and a camellia, and there's the sneaky dog in the background again. Oh, he's still very wild. So we're coming back around to the front again underneath that big rhododendron tree, and here I am. I'm supposed to be filming a front garden tour, and of course I can't help myself. There's something that needs to be trimmed, a dead branch off of this Japanese maple. So I went ahead and just set the camera down and did it. And that is where I'm going to end the tour today, is underneath that Japanese maple. So we can approach our house from a hill on the side, and this is the view that you can get before you come around the corner underneath this beautiful mature Japanese maple. You can get sort of a peekaboo view of the bench in there, with some lovely wind and daffodils in the foreground. Thank you for joining me on this very first Kendall's Greenhouse front garden tour. I look forward to showing you more of the greenhouse and the backyard and the side yard in future videos. Thank you for joining me. Take a breath, take a breath. Take a breath, take a breath, take a breath, take a breath. Hang out with me. Find yourself in Kendall's greenhouse.